Hare Krishna. Are you all able to hear me properly? Okay. Before we begin, let me ask a quick question. So I'll give you three options: English, Hindi, and mixed. Okay. So how many prefer English? Hindi? And mixed? Mixed already? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Okay. So we'll do our short Jai Radha Madhava. एक काम करो तुम लोग ना थोड़ा और पीछे हो जाओ गेट से बाहर निकल जाओ तुम लोग। प्रभु जी मैं तो यही बोला था। वही बोल रहा था यार ये चदर जो है आगे करो फिर थोड़ा थिक लेवल एंड देन कंफर्टेबली बैठ पाओगे क्योंकि माता जी को मुश्किल होगा फिर उसके अंदर बैठने में सो कोल्ड। ओके ऑलराइट। Very short, Jai Radha Madhava, and even shorter people, and then yeah. Okay?
ठंडा लग रहा है? हाँ ठंडा है ना?
Lekin by the time we finish off, it might become cold. So let's hurry up and then let's. Okay. All right. Everybody settle down. Oh, nahi hoga yaar usse. Okay. Everybody just settle down.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी रहने देते हैं आ जाओ प्रभु जी ऐसे ऐसे करके
there is a heater location. उसका टेम्परेचर भी आप जितना हाई हो सके कर दो। There you go. जय राधा कुंज just noticed while I was doing Kirtan that we don't have garland for the deities. So always preference should be given to the deities. Now I can't offer this to the deities, but at least what I can do is keep this over here. So that's the right etiquette. Mangalacharan. Okay, we get started. Om Jnana Jnana Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauranga Prasad Nirvishesha Srimati Pasha Deshakani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. तो यहाँ पर आते वक्त मैं ये सोच रहा था कि जो इंडिया में बैठे रहते हैं ना, उनको लगता है कि हम बड़े कंफर्टेबल लाइफ जी रहे हैं, लेकिन हम जो यहाँ पे हैं हमें ही मालूम है कि इट्स सो डिफिकल्ट यहाँ का लाइफ, राइट। एक तो वेदर के चैलेंजेस हैं और मंडे टू फ्राइडे इंडिया में जैसे हमेशा दरवाज़ा खुला रहता है, so somebody or the other is always coming and going and so on. तो बात हो जाती है किसी न किसी के साथ, कोई काम वाले आ जाए, कोई ये हो जाए, वो हो जाए, सब्जी वाला आ जाए, किसी के साथ एवरी डे यू कैन इंटरेक्ट एंड देन फिर वीकेंड में यू फील लाइक ओके चलो सबसे इंटरेक्ट हो गया, वी कैन स्पेंड सम टाइम, जो भी है मॉर्निंग जाओ, आई डोंट नो जो भी है। और यहाँ पर एग्जैक्टली ऑपोजिट होता है। मंडे टू फ्राइडे वी आर रियली वर्किंग सो हार्ड, बहुत, और फिर जाके हमें थोड़ा सा फुर्सत मिलता है ओवर द वीकेंड, फिर वो वीकेंड में फिर यहाँ पे आना। Are you guys able to understand English? Are the kids able to understand? Are you sure? Otherwise, I can switch to English. I don't have any problem. Okay. So, and you're okay with English? Okay. All right. So, तब ऐसा लगता है कि maybe we need a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather. लेकिन फिर वेदर भी ऐसा है, फिर सबको दो एंड बच्चों का भी देखो एंड देन यू कम ओवर हियर टू द सेंटर. It's a lot of effort. I totally get it. So I want to express my gratitude. आपको जितने आए, this makes a big difference. I mean, see if you can make it. हमेशा नहीं हो पाता है. I totally get it because you are also balancing many things. And I'm very grateful to all of you. So please accept my obeisances onto your wonderful lotus feet. Once you got the Karugeshwar, you got the Karugeshwar, Patadanam Kalam, very grateful to all of you. तो मुझे कहा गया था, कुलपति माधव प्रभु ने मुझे बताया, नहीं एक्चुअली गीता शर्मा रविंद्र जी ने बताया कि भगवत गीता के बारे में बात करते हैं क्योंकि अभी गीता जयंती एकादशी बिहार गीता जयंती, सो व्हाई नॉट वी टॉक अबाउट दैट. सो या वी कैन, हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं, लेकिन मैं लगभग सभी को अभी काफी दिनों से जानता हूँ, काफी देर से जानता हूँ, तो क्यों ना हम शुरू में ही कुछ क्वेश्चंस नोट कर लेते हैं so that then I can shorten the class if I need to, कि अगर हम प्रैक्टिकल चीजें जो है वो भी हम डिस्कस कर सकते हैं कि सांस का क्या करना है, भव का क्या करना है, whatever जो भी है, so we can talk about those things because they are our immediate needs. Okay, all right. So why don't we start from this side? यहाँ पे आप लोगों में से किसी के पास कुछ ऐसे सवाल हैं which we must address today, वरना प्रसाद नहीं मिलेगा. तो ऐसा कुछ चीजें हैं. Anything from this side that you can think of? Anything that's modern in that.
Mind को control.
Mind को control कैसे करते हैं? Okay. भारी सवाल पूछ लिया आपने. नहीं ठीक है, it's okay. Mind को control कैसे करते हैं? Okay. अच्छा. थोड़ा कम भारी उधर आता हूँ मैं, इसलिए कि मैं अभी आ रहा हूँ तुम्हारे पास. इतना मैं 5 सवाल तो तुम्हारे नाम पे लिखा हुआ है. और किसी का कोई सवाल नहीं यहाँ पे? ठीक है. भाईचारा कैसे बनाना है, किसको वोट देना है, एनीथिंग जो भी है. हाँ बताओ.
जो बांग्लादेश में हो रहा है अभी,
तो बांग्लादेश में जो हो रहा है उसका क्या करना है?
क्या मतलब क्या करना है, बट हाउ टू अवॉइड सच थिंग्स.
How to avoid such things? That's a very good question. Actually, even a business right नहीं था, so it's a very good thing. You brought that up. Very nice. Thank you. You are the one who needed a ride or something. Okay. I think you also needed a ride. अच्छा वो नहीं है. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I thought I would pick them up. मैं तो जल्दी आ गया था. Okay, so और कोई है यहाँ पर? तो जिसमें से किसको? You always look confused. तो बताओ आपके कुछ
practical life में प्रभु, how should we when actually going gets tough, so then how do we ensure कि spiritual life भी हमारे लिए
when the going is tough, how do you ensure कि spiritual life हमारा ठीक है? Okay, please remember your respective questions because there are quite a few. तो ऐसा हो सकता है मैं भूल सकता हूँ, लेकिन I'm trying my best to remember stuff. Okay, anything else from this time? No, right? Okay, हाँ.
स्टार्टिंग में ही आपने बताया कि there are many things that we need to handle day by day. Still we are trying to find out on time to come here.
Right.
So among all those things, how should prioritize each and everything along with Krishna?
How do we prioritize things? Please. Okay, and along with Krishna. Okay. Similar question, he's talking about a very specific situation in times of difficulty, but from day to day की बात कर रहे हैं. Okay, with everything that is going on in our life, to bypass this life is very difficult for us. India वाले इनको सब लगता है कि they only look at the equation कि 85 rupees to a dollar, लेकिन 85 का 75 हमारा पालन पोषण में लग जाता है कि hardly we have anything left and we are really trying our best. Okay, from this side, yes, briefly, I have called you first. फिर उसके बाद हाँ माता जी आपके पास प्रश्न क्या आएंगे बताओ. How to do time management?
Second, how to rid of some negative thoughts.
How to get rid of negative thoughts? Okay, those are very good questions. Very nice. Actually, all the questions are fine. Yes, you have something? Yeah.
No, I don't have.
You don't have anything.
Okay,
Okay.
Prabhuji, sometimes it's like we think, this will be the daily things we will be doing, like this task I'm having, this task I'm having. But at the end of the day, many times, like we turn out to be a lazy person. We try to skip many things. So
Okay.
usually in the winter season, Prabhuji.
Okay, similar to the time management aspect and the prioritization aspect, but okay, we go into depth question for ourselves. Okay. Anything else, यहाँ पे? Right? ठीक है, going once, twice and thrice. Okay, good. You are comfortable? By the way, मुझे आपसे एक सवाल पूछना था. You okay?
Anaya.
Anaya, मुझे आपसे सवाल पूछना था. So how are you becoming cuter every day? So you get like some kind of a thing, a drink or something from Starbucks. This is like called a cute drink.
Starbucks तो हमने बंद ही करवा दिया प्रभु जी.
बंद कर दिया?
अभी नहीं किया है लेकिन on the way.
वो कहीं पर भी ले लो यार. Okay. So what is the reason for your fee? No? Okay. That was a rhetorical question, but it was very nice to hear you sing Jaya. Very nice. Okay. You should sing every day. All right. So we talked about.
माता जी का क्वेश्चन था उनका हैंड्स अप हुआ.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
रूटीन कैसे बनाए प्रभु जी?
रूटीन कैसे बनाए? Okay. I think a lot of these are related. तो हम ऐसे देखेंगे कि हमारे पास ढेर सारी चीजें रहती हैं. हम जॉब भी बैलेंस करते हैं and we are most of us are first generation immigrants. तो हमारा एक पैर इधर रहता है, एक पैर उधर रहता है. So at least our heart is over there, our mind is sometimes also over there. हमेशा पूछना पड़ता है कैसे हो, क्या चल रहा है ये तो वो कैसे बैलेंस करें. And plus balancing with the wife and husband is very difficult क्योंकि वहाँ पर एक सपोर्ट सिस्टम रहता है. तू मैं हो भी जाए तो भी there are 15 people out there to counsel you. यहाँ पे होता नहीं. So you know it's very difficult. Ladies are more aggressive. And then और भी देखना पड़ता है कि वहाँ पर ना जो भी है इंडिया में जो 6,000 भी कमाता है रिक्शा वाला वो भी घर संभाल लेता है और जो 7,000 भी कमाता है whatever it is like सारा रकम वो भी संभाल लेता है. लेकिन यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं हो पाता because there is so many things that you know so एक stress रह जाती है लाइफ में. How do I do this? How do I do this? On top of that, अगर तुमने भक्ति में अगर लग गया तब तो बस बेड़ा पार. So you know then you have to chant, you have to offer prasadam, I mean offer bhoga, ये वो भोगा बनाओ. अरे हमें यार चुप करो यार बनाने को मुझे खाना. तो नहीं उसमें आने निकाली बिल्कुल नहीं डालना. Okay ठीक है लो खाओ. You know that kind of thing. So there is always some stress, some tension going on. So how do we manage that? So we'll talk about that a little bit. Okay? So but first we'll talk a little bit about Bhagavad Gita. तो क्यों ना हम श्रील प्रभुपाद का एक कोटेशन से चालू करते हैं. And I had originally planned कि हमारा जो ये लेक्चर होगा इंग्लिश में होगा तो इसलिए मैंने सारे कोटेशन अंग्रेजी में दिया हुआ है. But I think this we should be able to understand. I think so. अगर किसी को प्रॉब्लम हुआ तो बता देना. I'll try my best to translate. Okay? So Srila Prabhupada talks about knowledge. और वो ये बता रहे हैं कि देखो knowledge and education एक बहुत अजीब चीज है आज के दुनिया में, आज की ह्यूमन सोसाइटी में. He says therefore in the human society there is educational system. Man has to be made a right rational animal. तो हम लोग we just heard so many different questions. And अगर मैं ये सवालों का जवाब irrationally दूँ, you know, then nobody is going to like it. So anyways, nor will I be able to give it because I'm a rational person, nor will you be able to take it because you are also rational human beings, right? But how did we become rational? We became rational because हमारे पास हमारे माता पिता को संस्कार दिया हुआ है. So that is nothing but informal education. और हम लोगों ने formally we went to grade 1, 2, 3, whatever, 12, bachelor's degree, master's degree, whatever we did. So that's also a formal education. So through that we became a rational animal. Although he's animal, he has to be educated in a nice way. That depends on education, system of education, but in that connection, studying the whole world's education system, the Vedic education is perfect. So this is a very broad statement, you know, saying that the Vedic education is perfect. So we will have to dissect this a little bit. So we will scratch the surface and see what he means. Therefore, every man should be educated as they are instructed in the Vedic literature, and the summary of Vedic literature here is Bhagavad Gita. So every man should read as it is without any unnecessary interpretation. That will make the man perfectly educated. मैं काम करता हूँ, मैं आधे घंटे का एक अलार्म लगा देता हूँ, so that we have enough time to cover our questions. ये तो इसी में चला जाएगा हमारा. Okay? Timer and 25, 30 minutes. Okay, let's start the time. Okay, so now let us qualify why he's saying Vedic education is important. Because अगर आप देखें, so one of the main challenges of our world right now is peace, and this is not a recent challenge. ये हमेशा, and if you look at अगर आप peace या शांति की बात आप देखें, तो शांति can be not just at the geopolitical level. शांति हमारे जिंदगी में भी नहीं है. Right? So this is our biggest problem. आप ऐसा सोच रहे हैं कि अगर हमारे पास इतने सारे काम है, इतना सब कुछ मैनेज करना है, जो आप लोगों ने बताया, प्रायोरिटाइज करें, ये करें, it's actually not a problem if it is not hurting your peace of mind. Right? Many people do many things, right? So if it is not impacting your peace of mind, then it's easy. But it is a problem only because it affects our peace of mind. So how do we really achieve peace in society? So in many of the conversations, of course, Srila Prabhupada over here, the context he is talking more about geopolitical peace in the world. जैसे काफी आपने बांग्लादेश की बात की थी, and you made it a broader statement. How do we ever prevent this from happening? I was saying this is very much in my very first or second slide, right? And so that peace formula is given in Bhagavad Gita. And that peace formula is this: Bhoktaram yakya tapasam. We can all say Bhoktaram yakya tapasam.
Bhoktaram yagyatapasam.
Sarva loka maheshwaram.
Sarva loka maheshwaram.
Suridam sarva bhutanam.
Suridam sarva bhutanam.
Yatva mam shanti pritchati.
Yatva mam shanti rachati.
So over here Krishna is telling Arjuna कि देखो, this is the peace formula. The peace formula is actually very simple. तुम ऐसे सोचो कि तुम्हारे पास कुछ भी नहीं है. जो होता है ना, आप देखोगे कई कबार लोग ये गीता का सार लेके ये चलते रहते हैं. ये ओ प्रभु जी, मुझे गीता के बारे में सब कुछ मालूम है. क्या मालूम है? ओ जो भी हुआ था वो ठीक हुआ था, जो हो रहा है वो ठीक हो रहा है, जो आगे जाके वो भी ठीक होगा. So some very superfluous thing. But there is one thing which they say which is almost accurate, which is you came with nothing, you're going to leave with nothing. Okay? So, and everything which you do, if you consider that as the beneficiary is going to be the Supreme Lord, then you will be at peace. If you think that whatever we are doing, उसके हमारे उस पे कुछ हक है, it should belong to me, then you will not be at peace. This is the gist of it. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living things, the entities, attains peace from the pangs of material desires, from material desires. So this is the peace formula. But अगर आप इस पे थोड़ा अनुवाद करें, थोड़ा विचार करें, आपको लगेगा कि यार दिस इज वेरी यूटोपियन, ये तो होने वाला है. Okay, so actually, is it possible then, based on this peace formula, to have peace in the material world? No, it is not possible. Does anybody over here agree or disagree? How many people disagree that maybe it is possible to have peace in this world? How many people agree that it is not possible to have peace in this world? You are 100% right. It is not possible. Yet, you are incorrect. It is possible. As per the Upanishad ने बोला है कि देखो, अगर आप ये नहीं भी मानोगे, it is possible somehow or the other to have peace. Do you want to know how? So here, this is the next shloka. This is in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Yada charma vad akasham.
Yada charma vad akasham.
Veshta yishyanti manavaha.
Vishtanti manava.
Tada devam abhignaya.
Tada deva vignaya.
Dukkha shyanto bhavishyati.
Dukkha shanto bhavishyati.
So how is it possible to have peace? The day humans manage to roll around and hold the sky like a leather purse will be the same day that all miseries will end without having to realize the supreme God. This is another way to achieve the peace, right? So of course, this is an absurd statement, right? And the reason why the Upanishad talks about this, we talk They're basically trying to highlight the absurdity of it. You cannot have peace without somehow or the other putting God in the center. It is not possible to have peace. Okay? So coming back to your first question, how can we have peace? Well, it's actually not that difficult to have peace. It's the easiest way to have peace is to simply think that you are not the enjoyer. Okay? यहाँ पे प्रहलाद महाराज सातवीं कैंटो में he is talking to some of his fellow students. तो वो उनको बोल रहे हैं कि देखो मैं आप लोगों को बताता हूँ कि how to become happy and what is the cause of unhappiness. So he says very interestingly, he says as soon as you contemplate, as soon as you contemplate to do something which will make you happy, you sow the seeds of misery. Right? So that is the most interesting thing. So how to live our life by not contemplating everything? It requires practice. Because हम इतने सालों से, by so many lifetimes, we have been conditioned to think about ourselves. Why? Because we have a false ego. We have to, it is our very existence. If we stop thinking about ourselves, then हम कौन है? Right? So that thing, until and unless we actually stop thinking about our own welfare, we cannot be happy. It is one of the most interesting things. The best way to be selfish, thinking about one's happiness, is to be selfless. Is to not think about oneself. And then who do you think about? Well, if you want to be truly unhappy, you can think about everybody else. How to make him happy, how to make him happy, how to make them happy. That's the worst thing you can do. So what can we do? We can think about only one person. Let's think about the Supreme God. How to make the Lord happy? What does the Lord need to be happy? Well, उनको थोड़ा उनसे, he's the person. So उनके साथ थोड़ा बात करना है. Okay, let's talk to him for some time every day. What else does he need to be happy? Well, maybe he needs give him some food, give him some water, right? बीच में जाते हैं उनके साथ थोड़ा सा, you can have some personal discussion, like थोड़ा japa, or you can have like private discussion, or you can have discussion altogether, which is kirtan. Or you can just pray. He's like your friend, right? Aaj, Kriti, you have Shashank in your life, right? How do you know you will have him in your life next time? You don't know. How do I know that I will have Kurupati Madhav as my friend? We don't know. We don't even know whether we'll be human beings or animals and all that. But there is one person who will always be with me, right? Throughout this life and throughout the subsequent life. And that is the Lord. That's the Paramatma. So why not we take him into confidence? Because he knows everything. Vishnu Sarva Dvase, he knows all our secrets. वो secrets जो अपने spouse को भी हम नहीं बताते, वो secrets भी उनको मालूम, right? So why not we take him into confidence and say, my day really sucked. आज मुझे वहाँ पे जाना पड़ा, इनके साथ बैठना पड़ा, and मुझे ही हा करना पड़ा. I had to pretend that I like somebody, and then I was absolutely hating them, right? Please, can you help me? Just clean my heart. Please, can you help me become more peaceful and all that? So this is the very vulnerable conversation. These vulnerable conversations हम किसके साथ करते हैं? दोस्तों के साथ करते हैं. जो गहरी दोस्त हैं उनके साथ करते हैं. So if you treat the Lord as a friend, the Lord will reciprocate as a friend. Right? If you treat the Lord as do now, then the Lord will also say, okay, do now. However we treat the Lord, that's how the Lord will reciprocate. So let's try that out. Okay? Alright. So now, obviously with this absurd statements, it doesn't really get us anywhere. So we'll talk about the specialty of Gita. Gita ka mahatva kya hai. So this is a very nice shloka, of course, quoted in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Gita Sugita Kartavya
Gita Sugita Kartavya
Kimanye Shastra Vistare
Kimanye Shastra Vistare
Yasvayam Padmanabhasya
Yasvayam Padmanabhasya
Mukha Padma Vinishita
Mukha Padma Vinishita
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, this is Gita Sugita Kartavya. So it has to be the Bhagavad Gita Sugita has to be sung in a, so it should be sung very sweetly. Okay. Kim ane shastra vistare. So what is the need? Kim ane. What is the need for ane, another shastra? Vistare, to really get into the depth of another shastra. Okay. But why? Why is there no need for another? Why? Because yes, Swayam Padmanavasya Mukha Padma. The Padmanavasya, the lotus navel one, Padmanava, okay, it came out from his Mukha Padma, from his lotus mouth. And that is why this is the specialty of Gita. So, इसमें दो terms है. I will introduce these two terms to you. एक है वाच्य. Everybody say वाच्य. And the other one is वाचक. Okay. तो मुझे आपका नाम क्या है?
Samir.
Samir. So, do you understand? Do all of you understand Hindi? अगर मैं हिंदी में बोलूं?
Are you understand Hindi?
You do understand? Okay. So, Samir, right? Okay. Samir, suppose आपने आपका नाम एक पर्चे पे लिखा है, you've written your name, okay? So that, yeah, so this up, okay? So that is Vachya. What is it?
Bacha.
Vachya. And you, the person Samir, is the Vachak. Okay? Is this distinction clear to everyone? Right? So, अगर मुझे समीर प्रभु को प्रसादम देना है, and I give prasadam to that sheet of paper where he's written his name, so he is not going to be very happy. He's saying, I know I'm going to be hungry, but I need the food. My name written over there on the piece of paper does not need it. Okay? So, यहाँ पर this is Baladev Vidyabhushan. Baladev Vidyabhushan is an excellent, is an incredible philosopher and sannyasi within our Goswami, within our movement. And he's also one of the predominant commentators of Bhagavad Gita. In fact, Srila Prabhupada on his Bhagavad Gita as it is, he recognizes a lot of his purpose are based on the commentaries of Baladev Vidyabhushan. So he wrote this book called Siddhanta Darpana, and he gives this distinction between Vachya and Vachak. And over here, he basically tells you, gives us the reason why the Bhagavad Gita is so wonderful. He says, Ekameva param tattvam
Ekameva param tattvam
Vachya vachaka bhava bhak
Vachya vachaka bhava
Vachya sarveshvaro devo
Vacha sarveshvaro devo
Vachaka pranavo bhave.
Vachaka pranavo bhave.
So there is, he's saying, Ekameva param tattvam. There is only one absolute truth. Okay? And what is it? What does he do? He expresses himself in two ways. Bhava bhak in two ways. Vachya and vachaka. Vachya vachaka bhava bhak. He expresses himself in two ways. Okay? And then he distinguishes. He says, Vachya sarveshvara deva. The Sarva Ishwar Deva, that is the Vachya. So the Supreme Lord is the Vachya, who is the denoter, just like Swami, right? Okay? And the Vachaka is the denoter. The Vachaka is the name of the Lord. Okay? The जो हमने पर्ची में लिखा हुआ. Okay? And so the original Vachya is the Supreme Lord, and the original Vachaka is the Pranava, Om, or the name of the Lord. So अगर हम ऐसे देखा जाए तो फिर इसका एक proof भी चाहिए. So whenever our Goswamis and saints say something, they have to give a proof. Bhaiya, it's not it's a matter of imagination. There has to be some backing of it. So he gives the proof from Srimad Bhagavatam 6:16-51, and he says, Shabda Brahma Param Brahma Mamo Bhe Shashwati Tanu. And he says, Shabda Brahma is the Vedic literature, okay? And Para Brahma is the Supreme Lord, okay? These are my two eternal forms. Mamo Bhe Shashwati, eternal Tanu. Okay? So, Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Parabrahma as here, okay, the Supreme Lord, and the Shabda Brahma is always literature. And then there is some further proof which is given. And the further proof which is given over here is denotes the different, the similarity between Vachya and Vacha. Okay? How they are similar. Okay? तो आप लोगों ने ये कई बार सुना रहेगा कि भगवान एंड भगवान का जो नाम है वो दोनों सेम है. दिस इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द लॉर्ड एंड बिटवीन लेट्स से समी प्रभु, राइट? बिकॉज समी प्रभु को अगर हम प्रसाद हम उनके पक्षी को दे तो समी प्रभु भूखे रह जाएंगे, लेकिन भगवान को अगर हम कुछ भी चीज अर्पित करें उनके नाम पे, then the Lord Himself is also pleased. There is no difference between the Lord and the Lord's name. ये आप लोगों ने सुना रहेगा? Has everybody heard this before? Okay. So this, he meaning Baladev to give Krishna, he further expands on this. And he says, कि देखो, there are a lot of avatars, incarnations of the Parabrahma. Right? We all know that. Matsya avatar hai, Kurma avatar hai, ye hai, wo hai, jo bhi hai. Are there a lot of forms of the names of the Lord, of Shabda Brahma? So then he again quotes in Siddhanta Darpana, and he says, Matsya Kurma Divi Rupe,
Matsya Kurma Divi Rupe,
Yatha Vachyo Bahut Bhavet,
Yatha Vachyo Bahut Bhavet,
Vachakopi Tatha Rik,
Vachako Api Tatha Rigari,
Adi Bhavat Bahut Utiryate.
Adi Bhavat Bahut Utir.
And he says, just like the Vachya takes on multiple forms, like Matsya Kurma Divi Rupe, just as it takes. Similarly, the Vachak, the Shabda name, the name of the Lord, also takes many forms. And these forms are things like the Vedas, like Veda, Samveda, Yajurveda, Atharva Veda, and the Puranas, and the Mahabharata. So now, if the conclusion is the Supreme Lord and the name of the Lord is the exact same. They are identical. Okay? And this is what he's trying to do. He's basically saying that this is why the Bhagavad Gita is so important. Because the Bhagavad Gita is literally talking about the name of the Lord. It is not, just the deep form of the Lord, but it is the name of the Lord. It is the pastimes of the Lord. It is the glorification of the Lord. And therefore it is no different from the Lord. That is the point that he's converging towards. Okay? Everybody agrees with that? Right? How many of you now feel that the Vachya and the Vacha are identical? So others don't feel like that? Okay. Alright. So, you're wrong. They're not identical. So why? Because we're devotees, we always believe that the Achintya Bheda Ved principle, which is essentially they are simultaneously the same, but they're different. So how are they different? They're different because the name of the Lord is more merciful than the Lord himself. Okay? The name of the Lord is more merciful than the Lord himself. How many of you ever came to ISKCON or Krishna consciousness because Krishna came in your dreams and said, "Beta तुम लोग जाओ, Louisville में Olmsted Street ये जहाँ पे भी है हमारा ये, वहाँ पे जरूर जाना Saturday को." How many of you did that? Because none of us did that. Or even me coming to Krishna consciousness to begin with, forget about it. None of us did that. But how many of us did it because a devotee told us to do it? Or they gave us a book of, whatever, Srila Prabhupada's books, or Bhagavad Gita as it is, and so on and so forth, right? So they, the devotees of the Lord, and the names of the Lord, the literature of the Lord, is more merciful than the Lord. Okay? That is one way to prove this. So this is Rupa Goswami's beautiful shloka. Of course, Rupa Goswami is a Vayu Vaishnava, so his shlokas are very nice, very mild, very beautiful. And I'll just read it here. This is Vacham Vachakam Nityate Bhavato Nama Swarupa Svayam Purvasmat paramev hantakarmam tatrapi janinahe. So he's saying, between these two manifestations, what manifestation? Vachyam and Vachakam. Between Vachyam, Vachakam, iti udeti bhavati. Between these two manifestations, okay, Vachya, Supreme Lord, and Vachaka, Shabda Brahman, right? We understand Bhavato Nama Swarupatan, Purvasmat Parameva Hanta Karuna. So, Purvasmat, so the previous one, Parameva Hanta Karuna, more than the previous one, Param Eva Hanta Karuna is the Tatrapi Jana. Tatrapi. The other one, the second one, is more merciful than the first one. Okay? So he says, between the Vachyam and the Vachakam, between the Lord and the Shabda Brahma, so the Bhagavad Gita is more merciful than the Supreme Lord. That is the gist of what he said. Okay? So this is one proof which he gives, and he gives it such nicely, such melody, such beautiful melody. But Harishori gives a different example, and it's not in that much of a melody. He says, Krishna Nama Mukhe Sthapyam, na Krishna Pratima Bhaje. He gives this example of Bakashur. Okay? So Bakashur was this big crane. और वो आए थे भगवान श्री कृष्ण को swallow करने के लिए, right? And so what happened? He could not swallow Krishna, right? As soon as he opened his Krishna, he walked into his mouth and opened up his beak, and that was the end of Bakashur, right? So what is Harishori saying? He's saying that, look, you can take the name of the Lord, you can take the Shabda Brahma in your mouth, but you cannot take the Gita in your mouth. That is the other difference, right? आप में से कोई हरिनाम तो ले ही सकते हैं, अभी तो हम लोगों ने कीर्तन किया था, right? लेकिन आप में से कोई, can you take the Gita of Krishna in your mouth? No, you can't. That is the other difference, okay? So the Bhagavad Gita is also a deity. It is called as the 18-armed, 18-limbed deity. Okay. We can just go to the translation. It will be easier because we run out of time otherwise. We still have to. Oh, don't have much time left. He says the first 5 chapters are her heads. The next 10 chapters are her 10 arms. 1 chapter is her stomach, and the remaining 2 chapters, 17 and 18, are her 2 lotus feet. She is Bhagavad Gita. Know her to be the Supreme Lord's 18-limbed deity in the form of words. She destroys the greatest sins for one who simply understands it. This is from Padma Purana, Uttarakhand. So this gives us an idea that the Bhagavad Gita is not just an ordinary book. So we started off, we were saying, people have this sahajya mentality. Okay? Karm karo, karm ka phal mat dekho, that kind of a thing. And while some of it is true, it is not deep enough. It is not ki karm karo or karm ka phal mat dekho. It is karm karo or karm ka phal bhagwan karo. Okay? So there is a little bit of a difference. And then there is another thing you must have heard, especially in India. Work is worship, right? So work is worship, right? When I was growing up, this was like a slogan, work is worship. So ठीक है, तो जो butcher है, जो कसाई है, वो भी काम कर रहा है, so that is also worship, right? जो तुम्हें politician है, जो तुम्हें ठग रहा है, he's also doing work. Is that also worship, right? So what kind of work really is then worship, right? So what is meant over here is, when we study the Bhagavad Gita, we don't study it with a sahajya mentality. Okay? यहाँ पे एक अनुवाद याद आया, यहाँ पे मैंने लिखा हुआ है, अति परिचयात अवज्ञा संतत गमनाथ अनादरः भवति. Okay? अति परिचय, too much familiarity. What does it mean? Breeds contact. Okay? Avagya santat gamanat anadara bhavati. Okay? It gives result to avagya, ignorance. Okay? And where does it take you? To another bhavati, to neglect. Okay? Another kind of disrespect. And the example given is Malay Bindi Purantri Chandan Kashta Indhanam Kurute. So there is this lady who is in Malay Parvat. Malay Parvat is famous for a lot of these sandalwood trees. And what she does is like she never goes out of Malay Parvat. So when she cooks her food for firewood, she's using the sandalwood, the expensive sandalwood. Why? Because it is horticulture. She doesn't understand the value of it. Okay? So the whole point is Bhagavad Gita हर किसी के घर में 10-10 डॉलर का मिल जाता है या 5-5 डॉलर का, I don't know India में कितने में मिलता रहेगा, but because people just treat it very disrespectfully, do not treat it disrespectfully, treat it with reverence. Okay? So now the last part we will quickly talk about this and then we will break for our questions. So if you have to understand the book Bhagavad Gita, or for that matter of fact any book, okay, how do we understand what is this book going to be about? So nowadays, Jiva Goswami gives a very nice formula. This formula you can use for any book. You can even use it for one of your regular books, like whatever, even a manual or whatever it is. Okay? It doesn't have to be. And he says, Upakrama,
Pakrama,
Upasamhara,
Upasamhara,
Abhyaso, Apurvata,
Apurvata,
Palam,
Phalam,
Arthavad,
Arthavad,
Upapatti,
Upapati,
Cha,
Cha,
Lingam, Taparya Nirnaya. Okay? So, Lingam Taparya Nirnaya, so this is how we understand the book. These are the 6 ways. It starts with what is called Upakrama. So, Upakrama and Upasamhara. Upakrama is how the book begins and how the book ends. Okay? So, how does the Bhagavad Gita begin? So if you really look at it, although it begins in the first chapter with observing the armies, the instructions from the Bhagavad Gita, the real essence of the Bhagavad Gita begins when Arjuna in 2.7, we want to make the offering. Side by side. So, और एक काम कर सकते हैं, when we are having a given day, 20-25 मिनट तो लग ही जाएगा तब कर देते हैं, okay? क्योंकि इसके ऊपर क्विज है, I don't want you to तुम्हारा प्रसादम छूट जाएगा. So, all right. So how it begins from chapter number 2, text number 7, when Arjuna finally says, "I give up. I am totally confused. You are going to be my guru. I'm going to be your shishya, and I'll you please instruct me." Okay? Kartamya dosham bhatasaha. Okay? So he says that. And how does it end? It ends with Sarva Dharma Pariteje Manekam Sharanam Gata Aham Tam Sarva Papitya Musheshwani Masata. So it begins literally with Sharanagati, surrender. I have surrendered to you, and it ends with Krishna giving instructions to all of us, just surrender unto me. So this gives us an idea of what is this book about. This book is about Sharanagati, how to surrender to the God. Okay? Next, Abhyasa. Abhyasa means whatever is repeated in the book. So what is repeated in Bhagavad Gita? There are a few things which are repeated. A lot of the repetition is about Krishna, and a lot of the repetition is about devotees and bhakti. Okay? So this book is then about Krishna, about Sri Bhagavan Vacha, many places. I am this, I am that, I am the Supreme Lord, from me comes everything, and so on. So it is about the Supreme Lord. And what is this repeated? About the devotees of the Lord. How to become a devotee of the Lord. So this will give you an idea what is the Bhagavad Gita about. Okay? And then he says, Apurvata. What is so unique about this book? What is so amazing about this book? The amazing thing is, you see, Arjuna is given a lot of options, right? Arjuna is first given the option of, you have to fight because you're not going to, because you won't really end up killing anyone, because nobody really dies. Everybody's a sword, they're not their body. And Arjuna is like, yeah, I get it, but it doesn't really sit very well. Okay, you have to fight because you can do karma without really incurring the sins by doing akarma. Okay? Really? Okay, yeah, that's great. But it's, yeah, this is mine. This is, I mean, 30 minutes earlier than that. And, oh, that's so nice to see you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. And then, so Karma Yoga also he kind of rejects. And then Jnana Yoga he rejects. And then he rejects, different flavors of other yogas, including, highly philosophical things. This is your nature. He rejects the whole Varnashram aspect of it. That, oh, I have to fight because it is my duty as a Kshatriya. None of that. But what does he converge on? He converges on Bhakti Yoga. That is the part which resonates with him. This part is apurva. Okay? This part is unique over here. Because you have different books which only talk about Karma Yoga, which only talk about Jnana Yoga, which only talk about Sankhya Yoga, which only talk about Metta. But over here, you talk about a lot of things, and you come to the conclusion that all these things are superfluous with the exception of. So this also gives us an idea about what is the Bhagavad Gita all about. Okay? And then he says, Phalam, what do you get when you study the book? Well, we kind of already discussed it. The phalam that you get is what?
Bhakti.
The phalam that you get is okay. All right. And then the Arthavada, what is glorified in the book of Gita, I thought I already covered. Yeah, what is glorified, I think I skipped and I put that in Abhyasa. Arthavada, what is glorified in the book of Gita? Devotional service. Bhakti is glorified in the book. And what else is glorified? The bhaktas are glorified. If you start the 12th chapter, such a devotee is dear to me. Okay, and then you go to the next one. Oh, this devotee is very dear to me. Okay, many next one. Oh, this devotee is really dear to me. Okay, oh, this devotee is very, very dear to me. That kind of a thing. So they are glorified repeatedly. So that also gives us an idea about what the Bhagavad Gita is about. Okay? Next is Upapatti. Upapatti, this is, everybody should be able to answer this, the logical direction that the author is pointing out. Again, back to Bhakti. So actually, the Bhagavad Gita has got nothing to do about the war. It has got nothing to do, from a broader sense, you could say, it has everything to do, somebody could argue it has everything to do to convince Arjuna to fight. But after this analysis, does it have anything to do with convincing Arjuna to fight? No. What is it about? It is about the Lord, the devotees of the Lord. That's what it is about. Okay? This has got nothing to do with anything else. Okay? So this will give us an idea about this. Okay? There are a couple more slides, but we'll stop over here because I would rather get to our practical things. Okay. So Prabhuji, the ones who joined a little later, I just put up this regular slide so that it's right there. Okay. So we have gone around the room and we were asking, like, does anybody have any questions that we can talk about so that we can reserve time for that? And so one of the questions that we already covered is, can there be peace? And we gave the example of Bangladesh. Prabhuji gave the example, can there ever be peace? And we came to the conclusion that yes, there can be peace if all the human beings come together and hold the sky and put it in their purse, in their pocket. And since that is an absurdity, therefore, you cannot have peace unless you have the Lord in the center. It's not possible. Okay? But if you can put the Lord in the center, then it is possible to have peace. Okay? And then we have quite a few questions about managing our daily routine. So let's get into that. So first I will tell you about the practical things, and then we will talk a little bit about the esoteric part. Okay? So practically, there are things in your life which will be on fire. Okay? Your fire means like if you are not going to attend to these things right now, then your house will burn down. Okay? Something bad will happen in your life right away. Okay? As it does not mean something bad. So those are the things which take highest priority. So Preeti, when you wake up in the morning, it took me a long time to get into this habit. As ऐसे कहा गया है कई जगह पे कि you do something for 60 consecutive days, then it becomes a habit. In other places it says 90 days, but let's take it 60 तो चालू करते हैं, फिर 90 तक आगे देखेंगे. Okay? So हर सुबह उठ के, you know what I do? I take 5 minutes. This is, I literally just get up from the bed. I have a small diary and a pen, and I just note down जो मेरे दिमाग में आ रहा है तो मुझे याद करना है, including chant my rounds, breakfast करना है, lunch में something which is absurd, right? Breakfast करना है, lunch करना है, इसके साथ बात करना है. It takes me about 4 or 5 minutes. Probably it would take me about 8 to 10 minutes. Okay? It never took me anything more than 10 minutes. Okay? So what that does is that helps me understand at least what is the planned task that I have to do. Unplanned to author, right? And so then you prioritize that. What is on fire? The next category is what is urgent. It's not on fire. My house is not burn down, but it's urgent. I have to pay the electricity bill, otherwise I will lose electricity. Urgent, but it's my house is not on fire. Okay? Next is what is important. It is important but not urgent. Right? So it's important for me to, I don't know, to cook or whatever, but it's not urgent to do this or that. Okay? Important. And then the other category. So if you get these 3 categories right, and it will take you some time, it will take us some time. So what that does is it sets our mindset. Yes. Okay? उसमें से कई चीजें हैं which are not tasks. So for example, like it's not like paying the bill or something. It is something like I have to talk to my husband for 10 minutes. This is our time. This time his phone is going to be switched off, my phone is going to be switched off. Okay? Even if my parents call, they will not be able to get hold of me. And even if his girlfriend calls, he's not going to be able to, right? So that kind of thing, right? So yeah, I hope I'm not getting into trouble. Right? Okay, I was kidding. Okay, so don't take it seriously. Good, okay. But whatever, like this is the time when work is not going to bother him, and this is important, and so on and so forth. Because if the relationship between husband and wife is tight, then you are at peace. Like you will be able to manage a lot of things. If it is broken, you won't be able to manage a lot of things. Then usko hi sambhalte aur aisa rahega. Okay, same thing with kids. Okay, so those kind of things. So I was just giving an example that the task doesn't have to be ye aisa. It could be something like a subtle task. Okay, all right. So now, an additional question that came in is how do you prioritize? So this is how you prioritize, right? This is the way you prioritize, okay? Now, you prioritize also based on impact. अगर मैंने नहीं किया तो क्या होगा? That's the thing. And it could be a negative thing, it could be a positive thing also, in the sense कि अगर मैंने नहीं किया तो I will miss out on an opportunity. अगर मैंने इंडिया का ट्रिप का बुकिंग नहीं किया तो उसको प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट किया तो आई विल हैव टू स्पेंड $200 more for the trip. So therefore it is important and I cannot that kind of thing. Okay? So this is the standard way to deal with priority. Now I will tell you the esoteric way. The esoteric way, आपने कभी कभार देखा रहेगा, some people can manage so many things. Some people can only manage this. Some people can only manage this. Okay? Why is that? Prabhuji over here, somebody asked me, you asked me, how do you control the mind? Everything that we do, Prabhu's mothers, is done through our mind. Everything that we do. All the contemplation that we have is done. तुम लोगों को याद रहेगा कि कई बार मैंने यहाँ पर आके आप लोगों को ये बताया था when we conceptualize something, it is conceived by the mind. याद है आप लोगों को? Right? You all remember that? Anybody over here who doesn't remember it? So we can quickly go through it. Okay? Do you know what that means? Both of you are new, I think. I don't think I've ever met you before.
No, yeah.
Okay. So, very quickly, just 1 minute. What is this?
Flower.
How do you know it's a flower?
We saw it before.
So, That's all So you don't know it is a flower. Your eyes, what happens, it just sees the shape. Your nose has a smell. Your fingers or whatever has a touch. But all of this information are then fed into the mind, and the mind then conceives, like you said. So it smells like this, it feels like this, therefore it must be a flower, based on your education, your, and whether you see the experience and so on, right? Same thing happens with how do we do that? How can we increase our ability to do more? The people who have a calmer mind, they have a sharper intelligence. Okay? There is a complete correlation, and sometimes the intelligence becomes even more sharper once we do meditation, once we get into our spiritual practice. Okay? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Darami Buddhi Yoga. So I give you the intelligence to come to me, right? But this is not just coming to him, is not just he is pointing to a direction. Coming to him means how do you balance everything in your life so that it is a pleasant experience, a pleasant journey to go to Krishna, and it is not unpleasant with whatever you do. Because if you are disturbed, you cannot come to Krishna. You see, that is an underlying assumption that if Krishna is saying, I will give you the intelligence to come to me, that means you are able to balance your life. You are able to figure out how to do this and this and this, how to be political, how to be sweet when necessary, how to be strong when necessary, how to behave in a certain way, how to approach certain people, how to get something done, how to not do something, and so on and so forth. That is real intelligence without getting disturbed. Not only without getting disturbed, but how to also make this journey pleasant. If this journey is not pleasant, we are going to give it up. After some time, cholo young, this is too much effort. I can't do this. Right? So that is how you do it. That is the esoteric way to do it. Okay? If you guys don't do japa, I would say do japa for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, if possible. Just one round. It takes about 7 to 10 minutes. If you can't do it for 10 minutes, sure, do it for 5 minutes. But at that point of time, your whole universe is just this. You just go to a corner of the room, you just shut yourself up from the rest of the universe. You say, I am going to do for these 5 minutes, I am only going to focus on the Lord. Do it for a certain period of time. It is automatically the Lord will give you the intelligence how to come. Which also means He will give you the intelligence how to try it. You must have heard this. The busiest people are the ones who have the most time. Right? Have you ever heard this? The busiest people are the ones who have the most time. तुम कोई ऐसे आदमी बैठा हुआ है, तो क्या कर रहे हो तुम? मैं ब्रेक ले रहा हूँ, from 1 साल का ब्रेक ले रहा हूँ, उसके बाद मैं वापस काम के लिए करूँगा. ठीक है, उसको कोई भी काम दो, उससे नहीं हो पाएगा. ओके? तो स्लॉट को दो, जैसे भावरे गोविंदा जो भी है, उसके 2 बिजनेस है, ये वो है, 5 परिवार है, सब सामान है. वो प्रभु जी आप मेरे लिए नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, परसों तक हो जाएगा. That kind of thing. So why? Because they have the muscles, they have the intelligence how to do it. So another where I'm going with this is practice makes perfect. How do you prioritize many things? By taking on many things. It's one of the most absurd pieces of logic, right? By doing more, you get better at doing more. If you're only going to be over here and be comfortable over here, you'll remain comfortable over there. Okay? So this is not that difficult. You are a CPA, right? So you must have, or you were. Okay, so whatever. So in your line of work, all of us have a line of work. How do you get best at it? By doing more and more and more about it. You burn the midnight oil, you do this, you do that, and that's another way able to prioritize better, to handle many things. Okay? माता जी आपका एक सवाल था Do you mind repeating that question because I have forgotten that? Routine कैसे बनाना है? Okay. So we started off by saying कि सुबह उठ के वो हाथ बना दो. Okay. Now.
रूटीन में आपको हफ्ता भर चलता है, फिर कुछ ना कुछ अप एंड डाउन हो जाता है कि वो रूटीन ब्रेक हो जाता है, फिर वापस सेम रूटीन पे आने में टाइम लगता है, तो वो कंटिन्यू कैसे रहें?
Right. So आपको पहले तो ये देखना पड़ेगा, first of all, that means that the routine that you're making, you are not putting enough buffer for things that can just come up. Okay? हम लोग जो IT वाले यहाँ पे IT वाले हैं कोई? सारे हैं सर, right? तो यहाँ पे हम लोग जब IT वाले जब बजट बनाते हैं हमारे काम का, तो हम एक capacity रखते हैं about 50%. If we are mature IT organization, 50-20% of our capacity is reserved for production issues. वो कभी भी आ सकता है, वो कैसे भी आ सकता है. So you must have some capacity built into a routine कि यार मैं कभी भी हो सकता है, especially if you have kids. 50 चीजें हो सकती है. You know, एक बार क्या हुआ था, मैंने रूटीन को बहुत अच्छा सा बनाया था, ये करना है वो करना है, इसमें हमें बुलाया भी था for dinner or something like that. I think my wife had gone to India at that time to take care of her parents, and मैं और वृंदा हम दोनों थे, किसी ने हमें डिनर पे बुलाया था, तो मैं चलेगा डिनर नहीं बनाना पड़ेगा, instead of having whatever I'm having, तो 5 और चीजें मिलेगी. तो वृंदा ने क्या किया, for whatever reason, उसके साथ मैं क्राफ्ट कर रहा था, because that's the best way to keep a kid engaged. Like she was just 5 years old, whatever, right? वो क्राफ्ट में जो वो बीट रहता है, या अभी फिर तो मेरा डिनर का क्या हुआ आपको पता चल गया फिर, राइट? ऊपर से कई डिनर मुझे घर पे ही करना पड़ा क्योंकि वो $1200 लग गया वो कभी भी काम है. ओके, from your end, right? So these things can happen. Okay, so this is wonderful. बहुत ही प्रसाद आ रहा है, आने दो this is very good. मैं तो बोलता हूँ 2 और ले आए. Alright, so this is another thing you have to build capacity. तीसरी बात ये है, क्या होता है माता जी, एक चीज है कि उसको बोलते हैं फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म. हम देखते हैं कि अच्छा हमने ऐसा प्लान किया था लेकिन ऐसा चीज निकला, ऐसा क्यों हुआ, राइट? आपको देखना पड़ेगा कि कहाँ पे हमारा अटक रहा है, कहाँ पे टूट रहा है वो चीज. ओके, फिर उसको धीरे धीरे, you will never be 100%. वो तो है ही, देखिए बोलने everything is like unknown, many things are unknown. But instead of 40%, 50 तक तो जाओगे, 60 तक तो जाओगे, 70 तक. You have to keep going back to the history and say कि ये कहाँ पे. चौथी चीज है, which is really what you are going to, जहाँ पे आपका जो मेन मुद्दा है मैं वो बताता हूँ. हमने वो डिसिप्लिन यार ये 7 दिन तक हम लोगों ने किया, कौन करेगा ये, और वो वैसे भी काम नहीं करता, राइट? हाउ डू यू मेंटेन द डिसिप्लिन टू कीप डूइंग दिस अगेन? तो उसको संस्कृत में बोलते हैं निष्ठा. निष्ठा निष्ठा एक स्टेज रहता है, इवन इन योर स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस एक स्टेज रहती है निष्ठा में, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, चाहे sunshine is raining, it's snowing, whatever it is, whatever happens in your life, you will still end up doing it. Okay? So वो निष्ठा आपको कहाँ से आएगी? That निष्ठा will come when your mind is calm, when you have intelligence. You already answered how to really control your mind. Manaspraya, mantra. By mantra meditation, you can control it. You can get it. You can get it to that process. But you have to be resilient. कि ऐसा नहीं कि आजकल क्या हो जाता है, हमारे सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है कि रिजल्ट राइट. लेकिन अगर हम go back to our life, you see that we never entered the 12th class until and unless we went to the first 11 classes, right? So you have to be patient and just keep going into it. तो आ जाएगी आपका. उसके बाद चाहे बाहर भी आ जाए, it doesn't matter. You will be able to manage it. It's not going to phase you at all. Yeah? Does that answer your question? You're more or less satisfied with the answer? Okay. And then Kulapati Madhav asked the question that how do you balance all this with your spiritual life, right? तो उससे क्या होता है ना, तो आप लोगों को end after this, after Prashana offering भी हो जाएगा. Unless somebody else has another question. How do you balance? इतना कुछ हम लोग कर रहे हैं. We're looking after our family, we're looking after our job, we're looking at our parents, we're looking at money, we're looking at other challenges that are coming in, our kids, this, that. How do we balance this with our spiritual life? For that, my dear friends, I have to tell you something. When we cannot balance it, then our life becomes comfortable. Or when we think that our life is comfortable. Okay? You have to always be under the this life is not a good life. It's not a good life. Right? Why is it not a good life? Because we have to think about all of these things. We are constantly in anxiety. Constantly. पैसे के बारे में, health के बारे में, relationship के बारे में. Constantly. Sometimes all three, sometimes one of those three, sometimes two of those three. Right? Why should we put up with that? That is one thing. दूसरी बात है, we are not ambitious. Okay? We are not ambitious. आप लोगों का अगर मैं ये पूछूं कि भाई, which is the best place that you can go for vacation? What would be your favorite place to go for vacation? Sorry, come on. Your home? Yeah. So tell me the name of the place. Nepal. Okay, what is your best place to go on vacation? Sorry? New York. Okay. Shashanko, it's not putting me any more trouble. You go bolega Arizona and I just forget. How about you, Arti? What's the best place? Jammu Kashmir. Okay. You see, we are so limited in our creativity. Why don't you say Jupiter? Why don't you say Vaikuntha? Why don't you say Goloka Vrindavan? Because we don't have real ambition. I mean, ambition है ही. There is this allegorical story I sometimes say. एक बुढ़िया सी वो फॉरेस्ट के साइड में रहती थी. वो बेचारी she would just collect all this firewood और सर पे लेके वो बेचती रहती थी, right? यार तुम लोग का कम से कम 50 बार ये स्टोरी बोल चुका हूँ, right? और एक बार क्या हुआ, वो बेचारी बुढ़िया गिर गई है, हाँ? तो भगवान उनके सामने आए, तुम्हें बताओ तुम्हें क्या चाहिए? मुझे क्या चाहिए? तो मुझे सिर्फ आप एक काम करो, सिर्फ मुझे इतना स्ट्रेंथ दे दे कि वो बहुत उठा सकूं. हम लोग वैसे हैं. We have no real ambition. वो कुछ भी मांग सकती है, वो अपने लिए भी कुछ भी मांग सकती है, पूरे दुनिया के लिए भी कुछ भी मांग सकती है, लेकिन हम लोग मांगते नहीं. We are very very satisfied. भगवान ये $10 एक्स्ट्रा आ जाए, $100 एक्स्ट्रा आ जाए, ये वो बिल का थोड़ा इधर कम हो जाए, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल $15 कम हो जाए. That's the gist of our ambition, right? If you really have ambition, then you will say, I want out. I want to get out of this life where at the end of the time, end of my days, I don't lose everything. Because that's where we are stuck over here. No matter what you do, you're going to Nepal, you're going to Jammu Kashmir, you will go back one day and nobody will be there. Or you might not be able to go. Right? Your parents will be gone. Who knows? Right? Anything can happen. Right? So why do you want to do something where you're going to lose everything at the end of your life? Right? Have real ambition. Just सब कुछ चाहिए. I want everything, and I want it for eternal. I want happiness every single time. I want to be happy all the time. ऐसा नहीं कि सुबह I'll be happy and शाम को I'll be unhappy. No, I want to be happy all the time throughout my existence. I want to live forever. Have those ambitions. Right? So that's another thing that we can do. Right? So now, back to your question. So how can we balance spiritual life? Right? So when we understand that we can have these ambitions, then it becomes a priority. Otherwise, it will not become a priority. So that is the second condition, consideration. The first consideration was what? You remember that? The second consideration was you don't have any ambition. What was the first consideration? भूल ही गए हो यार। सही है, okay. Then we remind sir, try to think about what the first one was. But we now talk about the third one. Okay? The third one, the third consideration is that we don't have taste. We don't have taste. So there is this beautiful story in Bengali called Pather Pachali. And it's about this young kid, Apu, who is very poor. Their family is very, very poor. तो उसके माँ ना हर साल उसके सालगिरह पे उसको ये खीर बना के देती। But she didn't really have much. She would have like this thick rice. तो वही राइस वो बॉयल करके उसमें थोड़ा सा दूध मिक्स करके और थोड़ा सा चीनी ऐसे घोल के, and then that would be the खीर. Okay? And then he grows up. He grows up to be about 12 years old, right? And usko, because he's from a Brahmin family, he's invited to a very rich person's house at वहाँ पर उसको खीर दिया गया, with probably the fragrant rice, which had ghee, which had some dry fruits, and which had some gur, and it was really nicely pakawa. And when he ate this, when he had one spoon of it, he writes in the story that as soon as I have one spoon, I realize that I cannot go back to the kheer which my mother made. Because now he has a taste for this. He cannot go back and appreciate that. If, my dear friends, if we cannot have taste for spiritual life, we cannot take that. It won't work. How do you develop the taste? It is one of those things. We develop the taste by doing it. Shuru it will be like, drinking sugarcane juice when we are in a jaundice condition. It will taste very bitter. It's too much effort. Onion bhi nahi hai, garlic bhi nahi hai, chicken mutton bhi chhona pada, ye bhi hai, and then jab bhi karo, kirtan karo, ye karo, book padho, philosophy वैसे भी सबके ऊपर से जाता है. This is so boring. This is so difficult. This is so. And yes, it's bitter. Do it anyways. So just like you're drinking that sugarcane juice when you're drunk, bitter. One day, well, this is sweet. This is really sweet. This is material. Then you know you have a taste for it. So that is the third condition. That is why we cannot go into spiritual life, because we don't have taste. So the fourth thing is because we don't meet people who are जिसको हम approach कर सकें. And related to that is the fifth thing. When we meet them, we don't know what to do. Oh, भाई किसी को कोई सवाल है? Just about a month ago, I went to this Kirtan event at somebody's house, and I asked them, like, किसी को कोई सवाल है? So there's this guy who raises his hand and he says कि बीवी को कैसे खुश रखूं?
That's an ultimate question. That is the solution to all the
That
problems.
is the solution to all the problems. But I'll tell you the answer to that. You know what the answer to that is? Yeah, देखो. You know these fighter jets? जब जाते हैं, there's a dog fight going on. They're traveling at like hundreds of miles an hour, like sometimes even 300-400 miles an hour, and so on and so forth, right? उसके बाद, and there's a dog fight going on. उसके पास कोई टाइम नहीं है सोचने के लिए यार मेरे बाजू वाले उसको मैं कैसे खुश रखूं. No. That's what you have to do. You cannot make right? तो अपना देख तो बीवी भी अपना देखेगी फिर शायद हो जाए कुछ, right? That's the thing, right? So we don't know what, first of all, who to ask, and who to approach, and number two, what to ask them, right? So that kind of thing. To solve the second question, so the second one is easier to solve. To solve the second question, you have to do introspection. मुझे क्या चाहिए? And the reason we cannot do introspection is, you know why? Because we are dishonest. We are dishonest. We cannot admit our own failures. So लिखो एक ऐसे जगह पे लिखो जहां पर you don't have to share it with anybody. it's like there's a public self, private self, and secret self. Just get into that secret self. You don't have to share it with anybody, but start writing down what do you really actually want. क्या चाहिए तुम्हें भगवान तुम्हारे सामने प्रकट हुए बोले बस तुम्हें क्या चाहिए you have to be super honest. Yes, I want that money. Dhruva Maharaj. Oh, I'm in trouble. I want to get out of this. Gajendra, right? Oh, I want something for my parents or for my family. Prahlad Maharaj, he asked the Lord, like, please, can you take care of my father who you just killed, right? And why are these examples given in Srimad Bhagavatam? For us to emulate. Yeah, you don't have to be, pretending कि यार मैं तो बड़ा संत हूँ. ऐसा नहीं है. Just be yourself. Be honest. कि मुझे पैसे चाहिए. मुझे यहाँ से ये चीज नहीं चाहिए. मुझे इससे निकालो, इस situation से निकालो. You put that down. And when you are being honest, then those are the things तुम बोलोगे. Okay, please, अगर मुझे ऐसा कोई आदमी मिल जाए जिसको मैं बराबर से पूछ सकूं तो मैं ये पूछने वाला हूँ. मैं ये पूछने वाला हूँ. That's it. Then Krishna will send you. He will look at the first one. He will send you somebody to whom you can ask these questions. Okay? तो तुम भी छल कपट पे रहोगे तो वो कृष्णा तो महान है. तो छलों का ये तुम मेरे साथ छल करो, मैं भी तुम्हारे साथ छल करता हूँ. चलो. Okay? So does that answer whoever's question? Oh, these are the conditions हमने बोला है. अभी हम अंदर गए भी नहीं. Okay. So how do you balance spiritual life? So these are the reason I told you these things is you will now know why you cannot go into spiritual life. Because of the lack of ambition, because of our lack of faith, because of our lack of resources. किसी को किसके पास जाऊँ, क्या पूछूं, ये वो. Because of our dishonesty, so on and so forth. So when you fix these, right? When you are honest, when you are not duplicitous and all that, then automatically you will get the resources. Krishna will provide you the resources to start engaging in spiritual life. And when he provides you the resources, he will provide you एक दाना, एक अनार का दाना. And you will go grab it with longing, with greed. Okay, अभी दो दाने ले. Okay, अभी चार दाने ले. Right? So Krishna will start giving you more and more. And then he will start testing you. How will he test you? मान लो कि there was something difficult going on in your life. कि तुम्हारा बच्चा बीमार था, तुम्हारा जॉब नौकरी नहीं लग रही थी, ये वो जो भी है. And that's why you started praying. Please help me out, Lord. This happened with me once, right? Manani again has gone to India because her parents were quite sick, all the time. And Vrinda मेरे साथ अकेले में थी. And around this time, winter में, and dry हो जाता है, right? Winter में काफी. And so her nose started bleeding. तो 5 मिनट हुआ, 10 मिनट हुआ, 15 मिनट हुआ, 20 मिनट हुआ, 25 मिनट हुआ. Bleeding is not stopping. And I tried everything. Uttam she's also having a lot of fever. So at that time, I held her nose in one hand and I kneeled down and just prayed, dear God, please help me out. Just give me this. जो उसको दिया वो मुझे दे दो. But just somehow the other protect her, right? Because I was in deep distress, right? So during distress, it's easy to pray. Now the Lord will test you by removing distress from your life. नौकरी लग जाएगा तुम्हारा. Your kids will be fine. यहाँ से थोड़ा opulence आ जाएगा. ये 2-4 पैसे कमा भी लोगे. तब तुम आओगे. तब तुम pray करोगे. So he will test you like that. Okay? Will you pray to me? Will you come to me when you are well off? Now you have to know how to pass that test. If you cannot pass that test, done. Then you again have to wait. Okay? You have to wait for another opportunity to come. What will happen if you can't pass the test? You will lose taste. And then you will say, I was just reading all our messages. I think when I started commenting on that, I started repeating your Sabaja. So uske pehle I think 4 or 5 I think yes bola tha, right? एक तो वो 4 महीना कभी नो नहीं बोलना, okay? So people will keep saying no. So just say like, please tell us how many are coming. Coming alone, coming with 2 people, coming with 3 people, coming with 4 people. That's it. तो नहीं आ रहा है तो नहीं आ रहा है, तो क्या कर सकते हैं, right? So anyway, and then I have to ask, why are you not coming? And then I was thinking, you're not coming because the life is comfortable. If now your daughter or your son was out there with a nosebleed and you have nowhere to turn to, you will be praying to God. Because now you're uncomfortable. Now you need somebody who has greater control of your life. So why should we wait to become uncomfortable to be grateful to the Lord? Why should we do that? Where's the intelligence in that? Right? Because then Krishna will say, oh, this is the pattern. और उसको बबू दो, फिर वो आएगा, right? Take away their person's job, take away their health, take away some of their relationship. Then they will come. You don't want that, right? All right. Any other last questions? Anything else?
So probably where does an atheist fit in all this?
Where does an atheist fit? That's a very, very good question.
We talked about distress. We talked about like how we incline towards God whenever we are in distress, right? But where does an atheist fall in all this?
So, atheists there are different types of atheists. There's one type who don't believe that God exists. Okay? They are ignorant atheists. They are not, ignorant, they are abominable in their own ways, but not really. Okay? They're very ignorant. And then amongst these ignorant atheists, some of them can even become wonderful, beautiful Vaishnavas. There is the example of Bhakti Vigyan Swami Maharaj. Do you know who he is? He was a scientist. And he was born in an atheist family. And he was an atheist for quite a long time in his life. There are many other people like that as well. Okay? So they don't know who God is. Nobody has ever been able to stand in front of them and convince them that God exists. Right? So I haven't seen God, you haven't seen God. You just said you've never even seen God, but why should I believe that kind of thing. And there's another aspect of atheism which is coming from Mayavad philosophy, who believe that God is just an energy. That is like the Star Wars principle. There's energy flowing across the universe, and then God takes form when He comes to this material world. So that is a bigger problem. That's a more abominable aspect. They are called as Pashanis. Okay? And so, where does the atheist fit in all this? So the first one, they just believe in what is called as karma mimamsa philosophy. What's it called? Karma mimamsa. Karma mimamsa means, hey, I do good, I get good rewards. I do bad, I get punished for that. Okay? So as long as I do good, I'm a good human being, I'm a moralistic guy, I do my stuff properly, and so on and so forth, I will continue to get rewarded. I don't need God for that. Right? That is karma mimamsa philosophy. Okay? And karma mimamsa philosophy is actually even mentioned by Krishna when he is trying to convince his father and the rest of the cowherd men that you don't have to worship Indra. Because as long as you're good, you're okay, Indra has to give the rain to you. Right? You don't have to worship him in order to get the rain. Right? You just have to do your thing. So that is karma mimamsa philosophy. Okay? So that's where the one end of the atheist fit. Okay? The other end over here is like who believe in there is this spiritual energy all across and all that. Say, okay, I am also part of the spiritual energy. The spiritual energy flows through me. All that I have to do is just go with the flow, go through my life, and at some point of time I will merge with the spiritual energy. I will also become God. I will also become Narayan. Okay? So this is a much more dangerous philosophy because now we are competing with God. Okay? Why would God want the competition? right? So where does God, how does God manage these two people? So for the first person and for the second person, God sends, God is not very merciful. Okay? He doesn't want anything to do with that. So who are the merciful people then? The devotees. The devotees are more merciful than the Lord. So the devotees say, we will go. We will try to convince people. We will try to see if they are really innocent, they really don't know what is what, so then we will try to teach to them. Okay? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the example of the second guy, which is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was an incredible scholar. Okay, incredible scholar. But he believed in the Mayavada philosophy. And he became one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. And once he becomes this devotee, Bhakta, he then says, you know what, I have a friend called Ramananda Roy, who used to keep telling me all of these things, but I never really paid any attention to him. But now I know what is what. So please, when you go to South India, just visit him. And so then this amazing dialogue between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy comes. And Ramananda Roy stays with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his last few years in Sankhya-lila. Okay? There are many such examples of Mayavadis who became bhaktas. I think that's the So Krishna always does that. But you have to have some desire for that. I'll give you another example of people who did believe that God is really a person. The four Kumaras. The four Kumaras, right? Who went all the way to Vaikuntha to get a glimpse of the Lord. You know, हमने सुना है that the God is a person, and you smell some, there was when somebody was offering something to the Lord, he smelled the Tulsi Manjari from his lotus feet, and he got attracted. So God must be a person. So, I think Jesus is mommy or daddy. Any other final questions or comments from anyone? Yeah. Prashant is very well.
Blessed.
Okay, I think he's ready.
All right, no question. Okay, any other questions or comments from anyone? Okay, yes.
How to train our mind to stick to a plan?
How to train our mind to stick to a plan? This is because of lack of discipline that we are not able to stick to a plan. It's how do you become disciplined at anything? Have you ever been disciplined at anything, like anything which you have practiced for a long period of time in your life?
Full time.
Okay, like what? Like, could be examples, okay?
Getting up early, 5 o'clock every day.
So, were you able to get up early at 5 o'clock then?
Initially it was difficult.
And then?
Then after 2-3 months something I got kind of habit.
Okay. I think you've answered your question. How do you train your mind? Just like doing it. Guys looking for like बहुत मसालेदार ये उसके लिए none of that. This is very simple. How do you get better at anything in life? Just by doing it. There is no magic trick. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. That is actually very simple. And Krishna has structured our life to give us the clues. How do you get better at anything in life? जिसको शादी के बाद ही after 10 years you ask some Mataji or even some Mataji that आपने इतना अच्छा खाना कैसे बनाना है? आपको पहले आता था क्या? No, during शादी I never used to cook anything. So how do you get वो करते YouTube वीडियो देखा, ये किया, वो कहीं से बात किया, मम्मी को फोन किया, ये वो, फिर कभी कभार नमक ज़्यादा हुआ, उसको एडजस्ट किया, नमक कम हुआ, उसको एडजस्ट किया, वो करते by making mistakes, learning from those mistakes, correcting the mistakes, and keeping at it. That's how I become better. This is the formula for anything that you have to get better. It's very simple. It's Maggie. All right, I think Preeti is going to give me a and stop now. Any other last questions? Okay. Any other? So we'll have,